2 hours later.
One, two, three.
Help me! Help me!
Let's do this.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and others. How are you all doing today? It is your fellow Kuro here, and today, guys, I am bringing you a look at my Stamina Dragonite build that I have been running for the past couple of days now, and I'm really liking it. My build really hasn't changed all that much from my last build video. The sets are still all the same. It's just all of the other stuff, all of the little bits and pieces, the moving parts of the build that I've adjusted to take advantage of the new changes that came to the Dragonite kit in the last update. I know I'm a little bit late. I haven't been playing a lot of ESO. I'm gonna be honest, the game is making me want to not be alive pretty offensively as of late, but hey, you know, that's ESO for you. I knew what I signed up for when I started doing this whole YouTube thing. But anyway, guys, just some information here for you people that may be just finding my channel here through this video and aren't really familiar with my playstyle. What I like to do is play a nice tanky sword and board front bar brawler style DK, and I don't like to do the whole dizzy swing thing. I don't like to be on the 2H bar longer than I have to, and I like to just play a quite tanky in your face character. So that's what I have here. This character is very beefy. It has very solid pressure, and once you get the whole the combos down and the bash weaving and the animation canceling, and you figure it all out, this build can put out quite a lot of damage and burst, especially with the whip changes. So if you are looking for a build that is so intimidating that people would rather sacrifice themselves to the blood god than fight you, you've come to the right place. Just a few quick things before we get into this. If you like this kind of content, make sure to drop a sub and a like, because that kind of stuff really helps me out in the algorithm, and I appreciate it. If you want to see me play this build and many other builds live, you can come catch me over at twitch.tv/KuroyukiESO. It'd also be super swell if you guys joined my Discord, where I have a whole bunch of people. We do a whole lot of things in there, a lot of fun, a lot of talking, a lot of shenanigans. We would love to have you. And lastly, if you would like to support me in the content, consider becoming a YouTube channel member, where you do get access to some emotes for premieres and the occasional YouTube live stream, as well as a badge next to your name and some other small perks. Now that that is all out of the way, and I've done my shilling for the day, let's go ahead and get into this build video, shall we? Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and dive on in here. We're just going to buff up as much as I can. I'm going to like really buff up though. I'm going to get all the possible buffs that I can get on myself. Just so you guys can see everything. Well, I can't get all of the buffs, you know, I miss out on the blood spawn and whatnot. A few simple things, but there we go, proc the enchant. As you can see, we get up to 6,000 weapon damage when we're all fully buffed up, very nice. We don't have a lot of pen, but we do have major fracture through our breath, and we do a lot of light attacking and all that fun stuff. So we're gonna proc minor through the thingy quite a lot, so we're gonna have plenty of penetration, I promise you. You're not really gonna notice too big of a deal there. When it comes to our stats, we've got 28.7k max stam, 32k max HP, and just about 16k max magicka. Very nice all around. Let me pop another tripod so you can see those buffed recoveries. And this as well. Boom. We're looking at almost 1600 stamina recovery, 1548, 11.500 magicka recovery, and then health recovery is really low because I'm a vampire. Armor is not super high, but it's plenty, I promise. 25.7k, and I am using blood spawn, so that goes just below 30k pretty frequently. And then 1500 critical resist. I don't think you need any more than that. You might disagree with me, depending on how hard you're getting hit by the Night Blades out there, but that's really just up to you. You'll be able to fix that if you like. All points into stamina. The race that I'm playing on this build now is Imperial. I used to play Nord, but I think Imperial fits better with the current playstyle I have, so I definitely recommend it, but if you're a Nord, that is okay too. I'm using smoked bear haunch as my food, I'll get into that later, with the Warrior Mundus Stone, and I'm a Vampire Stage 3 for all the nice goodness that brings with it. Hopping on into the gear, we're just going to go through this really quickly today. Vatistrand's Maul, you know what this does, it gives you stacks and stacks and stacks of weapon damage and then gives you a nice little AoE damage proc. We're using a Maul sharpened with the increased weapon damage enchant on it just to give us the most possible damage. We do get quite a lot of penetration on this bar, so our dots and our breath and stuff is going to hit quite girthily. Then I have one axe of agility here. This is a Nirnhoned weapon. Now, one thing you could totally do is you could put on a charged weapon and then drop poison for a fun enchant. I would recommend a disease enchant or a shock glyph because both of those are going to proc very, very consistently with the charged enchant, and you'll either get defile or a damage up on whoever you're hitting. Almost guaranteed every time. Very, very nice, fun playstyle, and it will help your sustain quite a bit. I am just using Nirnhoned because I like the extra damage and the extra healing, and I haven't really noticed much of a sustain issue myself. Both very good options. Give them a shot, figure out which you like best. But anyway, agility. The other two agility are on the jewelry. We will talk about that later. Then I have here my shield of Daedric Trickery. Daedric Trickery gives us all 3 stats, and then random buffs. You guys know how this works. Someone, I'm not going to say who, said this set is a little overrated. I think they are overrated. Just kidding. Horcrux, you're a fine guy. But I love this set, and fuck you. But yeah, Daedric Trickery, this is a go-to on the Stamina DK. Everything this gives, Stam DK loves and thrives on. So definitely going to be using this set. You could replace this with any damage set that you possibly wanted to, though. Literally any of them. If you feel like it is a necessity for you. Hell, you could even throw on Wretched Vitality if you want. It doesn't really matter, but I like this. Yeah, it's going to proc on cooldown every single time, pretty much. And I have it 4-piece on the body with the shield here, sturdy, with a max stam enchant. My enchant on my weapon doesn't really matter. I don't think I have one, because like I said, I'm using poisons. We'll get into that again later. Then I'm using 2-piece Bloodspawn, of course, because I am a DK. Bloodspawn gives us armor. It gives us ultimate, and it gives us a little bit of stamina sustain. Very solid there. If you wanted to, if you felt like an absolute madman, you could try Magma Incarnate for the damage and armor that gives, but I think the ultimate generation from this is just slightly more valuable for the Stam DK kit. That is up to you. Both are very solid options. And then I have a Daedric Trickery here. Heavy reinforced chest. Again, another Bloodspawn. Then I have 2 medium Trickery here. Both sturdy with stamina enchants. Then I have Greaves of the Trainee. That gives us a lot of health on the 1-piece here. I like to put that in there when I have the space, just because the extra health is nice to have out there in Cyrodiil, and it helps us get to that nice, cozy 32k spot. And then, again, Trickery, Sabatons. Now, I like to have 4 sturdy on my body with 2 Impen. I only really have the Impen because it's what I had before. I might go all sturdy, but having just a couple of pieces of Impen is really comfortable, especially with all the Nightblades around, so mix and match to your desire. However, I do recommend you do the heavy reinforced chest piece. When it comes to traits, or not traits, enchants, you want to have tri-pieces, or tri-enchants on the big pieces, stam enchants on the small pieces. This is a Magicka enchant, don't ask about this. Just don't, okay? Thank you. Down into the jewelry here. Necklace of Agility, Ring of Agility, both infused, both weapon damage. That's where I'm getting the 3-piece from. So I'm getting the 1732 max stam on both bars, and then the weapon damage only on my sword and board bar, which, like I've said before, is my offensive bar. So that's where I want it. Also has all my healing on it too. So what else could you possibly want? And then of course we have the old reliable Malakath's Band of Brutality infused with weapon damage. I will say real quick that I do keep a Swift on me because depending on what kind of groups I'm fighting, I might want that little bit of extra speed. So either one of these is really, really strong, and I do recommend you pick what you prefer. This is more damage, more healing, and this is just a little bit more mobility, which might save you more than the extra healing would. And I'm not even really going to explain why I'm using this. You guys already know. We are kind of a lower damage spec here, so this helps out quite a lot and makes crit a non-factor. And that is it for my gear. Into the skills. Talk about them very fast. Resolving Vigor, main heal, of course. I'm using Fragmented Shield. I was using Green Dragon Blood for quite a while on my build. I have now dropped that for Fragmented Shield. I like this now mostly because it gives me back stamina, and I have quite a bit of Magicka recovery, so if I'm holding block and I pop this 2 or 3 times, I'll get back just a quick 2 or 3k stamina, and it's very helpful. It also gives me my Minor Brutality buff, so we get more damage and more healing through that, and this gives me Major Mending. We do get Major Mending through Trickery, but just in case that's not up, this will also help with that. So very, very useful skill in general. You could use Green Dragon Blood if you want. You'll lose out on the weapon damage, but you'll gain a nice healing buff and another burst heal on the kit. Both good options. I would just prefer this when I'm not. The Minor Brutality is just too good. I don't want to get rid of it. Reverberating Bash. This is my main stun. Also procs our poisons, and it can proc Sundered. So very, very strong burst ability here. It will absolutely rip someone's face off, and they won't even know what is going on. Cauterize. This is basically our main burst heal. It's not super incredible. It really isn't, but it's not bad either. This thing gets up to about 10k when we're fully buffed and mended. Or mending, yes, that. That is very helpful. You can spam this. It costs very little magicka, so you can hold block and do 2 or 3 of these if you were in a rough spot, but always make sure to Vigor first, then Cauterize. That is a very important thing you need to remember. Then I am using Flame Lash on this bar. I'm using Flame Lash instead of Molten Whip because, as you can see, I don't have anything to proc Molten Whip on this bar. And since I do indeed want to use it on my Sword and Board bar, that's just how it's going to have to work. And honestly, I found that getting off a nice Reverb Bash and then proccing the Power Lashes with this setup can be very, very helpful, because not only are you able to put in heavy, heavy offense, you are also able to heal very effectively while blocking. So you're staying defensive while also being offensive and healing, and since this ability costs no stamina, like all of our other shit, you're not losing any extra stamina while you're holding block, which is one thing that a lot of the other spammables that I've used on this setup just don't, they can't do. So like, say I use Deep Slash, I'm holding block, I Deep Slash, and now that's 3 more attacks that I just lost out the ability to block on because I wanted to use a Deep Slash. So that is very, very helpful. When it comes to the ultimate, I'm using Spell Wall. You could use Temporal Guard. You can put Corrosive here, whatever you want to. I think Spell Wall is an invaluable ultimate for PvP, especially when you're alone. If you're in a group, though, you can definitely have a little more wiggle room to have something else offensive. And onto the front bar, I have 4 Momentum. This gives me my Major Brutality, a little bit of a recovery buff, and my mobility, my snare removal. Very nice to have. Noxious Breath, AoE bit of burst damage. Not a whole lot, but it is helpful to hit multiple people with this, you know, because it does a respectable little bit. Like, I'm not gonna buff up all the way, but let's just get an idea. Just about 8k. I'm not using a lot of damage CP either. We'll go over that, but it hits hard enough. It's nice, and it has a nice dot, and it applies Breach, which is very nice. It makes us do a lot more damage. We like that. Now I'm also using Volatile Armor. I use this one because it's just another dot, and it also pulls Nightblades out of stealth. You can use the other one if you want that pathetic little shield. Neither of them are too amazing. This one just has more utility, so I use it. Oh, also, if you're using a charged weapon, a lot of something that people don't really think about. While active, the armor returns 1000 magic damage to attackers, right? That is direct damage, so it has a high chance to proc the Magicka Steel effect on people, and if you have charged, it's even higher, so this will help with your Magicka Sustain. That's going to be on any of them, but that's just one reason that you might want to try out charged. Your Magicka Sustain is going to be a lot better if you're running charged. That's if you feel like you're struggling with it. Executioner, I don't do I need to say anything here? Break skulls, get the job done. And then Venomous Claw. This is our main dot. It's very nasty. It's very pungent. It makes people go ouchie, and it kills them quite effectively. Love this skill. And then when it comes to our two-handed bar ultimate, I typically just mix it up depending on what I'm having to deal with at any given time. I currently have Corrosive and Spell Wall because I was going full tonk out there because I had 5 or 6 Gank Blades chasing me. Very nice way to do it. I also am a really big fan of Dawnbreaker. I personally prefer Dawnbreaker as my offensive ult as opposed to Take Flight. They are both really good options though. I just like the follow-up dot that Dawnbreaker gives, basically doubling almost my Take Flight tooltip. But this is pretty straightforward. Any DK offensive ultimate will work just fine here. Stick whatever you want there. And then again, if you're, like I said, if you're in a group, you can mix it up. You can have 2 offensive ults. You can have a spell wall. You know, do what is comfortable for you. Now into the champion points. Green tree doesn't really fucking matter, but we're gonna talk about it anyway, just because. I use the mount ones because the mount ones are important, and then I don't even know what else I have in here. Movement speed, I like this because movement, and then I don't know why I have that, but I have that. Now, the important tree here, I use Focus Mending in blue, and I use Deadly Aim, this is for my single target attacks, and then I'm actually using 2 defense CP because I feel like I have plenty of damage. I have on Ironclad for direct damage reduction, and Duelist Rebuff. I like Duelist Rebuff because single target includes all dots that get placed on you, so this is very helpful for mitigating things like a bunch of really angry DKs that are mad that you're asserting DK dominance on their territory and they're all dotting you up. It's very nice to have this. I actually do sometimes change out for the dot mitigation CP, actually. I'll have both of these. But again, that really just depends on who I'm fighting. If there's a lot of Nightblades, I'll go with direct damage. A lot of Sorks, direct damage. If I got a lot of dot builds and mag DKs that are very angry, I'll go with damage over time. But I really don't think you need a second offensive CP here. But if you want one, pick up... I'm like burping, guys. I'm so sorry. Holy shit. Master at Arms. Master at Arms is what you want. And then keep the single target mitigation CP. That's the one that I think is the most helpful for this current setup, since you're blocking a lot, so you're going to be blocking a lot of the nasty stuff. That's why I like to have a single target, because that means all the dots that are going through block, those get mitigated. That's my personal way I think about it. But yeah, if you want to have 2 damage CP, Master at Arms and Deadly Aim, with Deadly Aim being most important. Into the red CP, I am using, of course... What the fuck? Okay, I don't have that in. I was confused. I'm using the health CP, max health 1400, very important. In here, I am using Pain's Refuge, pretty straightforward, makes you a lot tankier when you are getting hit by a lot of people and getting a lot of debuffs on you. Then I have Sustained by Suffering. This is just additional sustain help for both Magicka and Stamina, very helpful. And then I have Celerity, just for a little bit of movement speed. If you feel very comfortable with your sustain, I would just throw on the armor CP here. It's not a dramatic difference, but it's extra mitigation, so it is what it is. Now, I just want to talk about Vampire real quick. Vampire is very good. It is very effective at keeping you alive, but it can also fuck you over sometimes. Because of the fire damage and the increased cost, I would recommend that you play this build without Vampire first, to see if you feel comfortable surviving and sustaining. Because if you can play without Vampire, I highly recommend you do it. I'm just doing it right now because I was dealing with so many gankers that I was tired of taking so much damage, and I went for Undeath. That's kind of another reason that I went with Imperial. One reason that I'm using Imperial is because of the reduced cost of abilities, so it's going to negate a lot of that negative from Vampire. If you are an Imperial with no Vampire, you're going to have very good sustain on this setup, and I think you will very much enjoy it. Lastly, I just want to talk about the consumables that I use. I am using, like I said before, Orzorga's Smoked Bear Haunch. I'm using this because it is 4,300 health, as well as 369 of both Stamina and Magicka Recovery, and I am using a lot of Magicka and Stamina abilities on this build, so it's very nice to have that. If you want more Stamina, feel free to throw on Artaeum Takeaway Broth. You'll lose some of that mag sustain, but you honestly don't really need it. I just have it because I like to start whipping and then never stop, so yeah. It's not really all that necessary. Your sustain is actually going to be very good on your magicka either way, so having this extra stamina for additional sustain, damage, and healing is also a good choice. If you want to use Bewitched Sugar Skulls, that is also an option for the most stat pool possible, but you're going to want to replace your Mundus Stone with the Serpent. Otherwise, you will not sustain for shit. Well, you can. Like, it just takes some time and some practice to sustain 900 stamina recovery DK, but it's definitely doable. I've done it many times. And yeah. When it comes to potions, you always want to have tripods on this build because, again, magicka is a very important thing to have on this setup. I will have recipes on the screen there for you. I also like to keep some of these on me at all times. CC immunity, stealth detect, and restore stamina. This is quite an expensive potion, but any stealth detect will do. But this is the one that I like to use. And then I only have one of these left, but they are nice. It is restore health, restore stamina, and give you CC immunity. This is a great potion to have when you want to guarantee that you'll get your burst out and rip someone's kneecaps off. And then I also have a bunch of other stuff, like I got the magicka version of those, don't ask why. And I keep stealth potions on me too because I'm a coward. In case I want to disengage from a fight, like 70 people, I don't want to die, yeah, I'll just pop a quick stealth pot. And lastly, I just want to mention the poison. I like to use the double drain health poison. It gives us 2 dots and 2 hots. Here is the recipe for that on the screen there. And yeah, that's basically it for the build, guys. I hope that the information was adequate for you. I tried to make this a little faster. I've watched back a lot of my build videos in the past, and they've been 45 minutes, and that is a little excessive. So we're going to try to tone it down here. If you think you need more information, let me know, and I will do so in the future. If not, we're done. Thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you for checking out the video. If you watched till the end, just a little bonus, I'm going to give you a kiss. Mwah. I love you guys very much. Take care. Have a great night. Kuro out. Mwah.